Hello and welcome to the Antiquarian Outlook for week 24 of 2025, starting June 9. I'm Spencer W. Stuart, Collections Advisor, author of Contemporary Issues and Rare Books and Manuscript Collecting, and host of the monthly webinar, Collecting Insights. For more details on my services, publications, and programs, follow the links below in the description, along with links to various auctions discussed in this episode. Alright, let's get into last week's results. Tuesday, ALDE had manuscripts and autographs. There were 150 lots offered, of which 42 sold, making for a 28% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was lot 132. This autograph letter written by Claude Debussy. Estimates were set at 1,000 to 1,200 euros, realizing 3,750 euros. A lot that exceeded expectation was 119. This letter by Claude Monet. Estimates were set at 800 to 1,000 euros, realizing 2,000 euros. Christies had Maurice Sendak, artist, collector, and connoisseur. There were 57 lots offered, of which 47 sold, making for an 82.4% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was for lot 30. This self-published copy of William Blake's Songs of Experience. Estimates were set at 1 million to 1.5 million US dollars, realizing 1,865,000 US dollars. A buy-in of note, lot 30. This watercolor by William Blake. Estimates were set at 400,000 to 600,000 US dollars. A lot that exceeded expectation was 23. This pencil and ink drawing done by William Blake. Estimates were set at 30,000 to 50,000 US dollars, realizing just above 107,000 US dollars. As well as lot 47. This pastel done by Chris van Alsberg, eventually the cover illustration for the Polar Express executed in 1984. Estimates were set at 30,000 to 50,000 US dollars, realizing 94,500 US dollars. Stockholms Auktionsverk had the Rare Books, Maps, and Manuscripts collection. There were 238 lots offered, of which 202 sold, making for an 84.8% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was for 57, the first book printed in Syriac, published in Vienna in 1555, realizing close to 11,500 euros. A buy-in of note, this compilation of De Brye's maps, published between 1590 to 1634. Estimates were set at just above 237,000 euros to 273,000 euros. A lot that exceeded expectation was 38. This copy of Saxo's History of Denmark, published in 1514. Estimates were set at just under 1,400 euros to 1,800 euros, realizing 8,631 euros. As well as lot 198, this check issued to Kruger and Toll. Estimates were set at 913 euros to 1,095 euros, realizing 9,124 euros. Wednesday, RR Auctions had fine autographs and artifacts featuring World War II. There were 840 lots offered, of which 583 sold, making for a 69.4% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was for lot 368. This official document by Karl Donitz, authorizing Alfred Jold to negotiate terms of surrender with General Eisenhower during World War II. Estimates were set at 100,000 to 200,000 US dollars, realizing just above 166,000 US dollars. A lot that exceeded expectation was 704. Stephen King's personal notebook from 1985 to 1986, with 80-plus handwritten pages connected to story drafts and early chapters for The Dark Tower 2. Estimates were set at 10,000 to 15,000 US dollars, realizing 42,660 US dollars. Thursday, Forum Auctions had an online sale, books and works on paper. There were 313 lots offered, of which 252 sold, making for an 80.5% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was for lot 222. This group lot of Charles Dickens. Estimates were set at 750 to 1,000 pounds, realizing 2,800 pounds. A buy-in of note, lot 251. This library catalog for Joseph Smith's collection, published in 1755. Estimates were set at 2,500 pounds to 3,000 pounds. A lot that exceeded expectation was this album of letters and cut signatures, dating from around the 19th century. Estimates were set at 400 to 600 pounds, realizing 2,200 pounds. Swann Galleries had printed in Manuscript Americana. There were 269 lots offered, of which 209 sold, making for a 77.6% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was for lot 134. This Mormon-related lot, a personal letter from Joseph Smith's paternal grandmother, along with papers of his New Hampshire uncle, spanning from 1777 through to 1822. Estimates were set at $6,000 to $9,000 US, realizing $32,500 US. A buy-in of note, Lot 190, Heriot's Map of Virginia, published in 1590. Estimates were set at $25,000 to $35,000 US. A lot that exceeded expectation was 175, a combined lot of letters and a diary of a northerner in Mississippi, dated from between 1859 to 1860. Estimates were set at $1,000 to $1,500, realizing $13,000 US. PBA Galleries had photography and fine art, fine press, and fine bindings. There were 342 lots offered, of which 214 sold, making for a 62.5% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was for Lot 52, Messrs. The Photographs of Abraham Lincoln, privately published in 1911. Estimates were set at $8,000 to $12,000 US, realizing $10,000 US. A buy-in of note, this archive of both Mary and Albert Stevens's watercolors, sketches, and original photographs from between 1880 through to 1920. Estimates were set at $10,000 to $15,000 US. A lot that exceeded expectation was Ray's The Matterhorn, published in 1907. Estimates were set at $300 to $500 US, realizing just above $4,000 US. Lay's Auctioneers had rare books and works on paper. There were 382 lots offered, of which 303 sold, making for a 79.3% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was for Lot 256, two William and Thomas Daniel aquatints showing Indian scenes from around 1801. Estimates were set at 200 to 300 pounds, realizing 8,800 pounds. A buy-in of note, this 1777 Dublin edition of Cook's Voyages. Estimates were set at 800 to 1,200 pounds. Kestenbaum and Company had rare Hebrew books from the library of the late Dr. Michael D. Paul. There were 169 lots offered, of which 164 sold, making for a 97% sell-through rate. Highest price realized within books was his complete set of the Bible, published in Venice in 1524. Estimates were set at $400,000 to $600,000 US, realizing just above $115,000 US. A lot that exceeded expectation was this first edition Book of Splendor, published between 1558 and 1560. Estimates were set at $20,000 to $40,000 US, realizing just above $88,000 US. Rago Arts and Auctions had two sales on Thursday. The first was Counterculture. There were 73 lots offered, of which 70 sold, making for a 95.8% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was for 111, this watercolor and ink by Marjorie Cameron, dated 1955. Estimates were set at $30,000 to $50,000 US, realizing $22,860 US. A buy-in of note, this screen print by Leo Gabin. Estimates were set at $3,000 to $5,000 US. A lot that exceeded expectation was this C print by Kenneth Anger, Scorpio Rising, dated 1963. Estimates were set at $2,000 to $3,000 US, realizing $17,780 US. Still with Rago Arts and Auctions, their second sale of the day was Missives from the Edge, Art and Zines of Raymond Pettibon. There were 136 lots offered, all of which sold. Highest price realized was for Lot 214, this ink on paper executed in 1986. Estimates were set at $7,000 to $9,000 US, realizing $9,525 US. There were 4 lots that exceeded expectation. Here they are in order of appearance during the sale. For a hyperlinked list of auctions we have our eye on in week 25, please send us a message directly. Registration remains open for July's Collecting Insights webinar series. All participants receive a complimentary copy of contemporary issues in rare books and manuscript collecting. Well, that's been the week from here. What'd you think of last week's results? Please make sure to put some comments below and we'll keep the conversation going. As always, the Antiquarian Outlook is totally independent. Its producers do not hold inventory, nor do they represent any consignments or acquisitions mentioned. If you want to stay up to date, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and turn on your notifications. Thanks again for tuning in. All for now. See you next week.